Susan, Margarita and Lisa. I was born in Ireland, born in Dublin, and I was born in 1961, 24th to May 1961 was the year. I started learning to draw when I was a toddler, about that high. I was 3 years of age when I learned how to draw from my father. Very busy in the Green Kitchen Cafe twice a week, the charity shop twice a week up the Crum Road. Sometimes the books up at the charity shop don't have prices on them, you know. I always check all the books on the shelves, you know, to make sure they're in good condition.
Susan is a wonderful lady. She works here in the garden centre and in the coffee shop.
Well, the wash and rinse of dishes, then put them into the crate, and then I dry the stuff. I dry everything, you know, put them on the tray and put them away.
She's a fabulous artist. She's full of life. She has just had her 65th birthday, which she celebrated here with all her pals, and I had the privilege of being asked and invited to and being able to attend.
She's really bubbly and so caring. She's just a real people person. She loves having conversations with people. If you meet Susan on a Monday, you'll get her recap from the weekend, and when you meet her on Friday, you'll get her full recap.
Susan is a lady, extremely polite, never has a bad word to say about anyone, extremely chatty, upbeat, and loves to be around people, loves to have human contact, have evenings out, afternoons out, spend time with people, spend time in the community, out the house, in her job, in her volunteer role, just being part of life.
I really value being part of Susan's life, and I really value Susan being part of my life, but I'm paid to be in Susan's life, you know. The staff that she lives with, who she would have very strong and connections and bonds with, again, they would value her, she would value them, but they're paid to be there, and if they weren't paid to be there, the reality is they wouldn't be there.
Many people's circles are so small. It might feel a bit counterintuitive, but the best way of being safe is to actually be connected and to belong in our communities, to be known in our communities, to be loved, to have relationships with people in our communities who are not paid to be there. Loneliness is the biggest killer for all of us.
I'd be a bit lonely if I didn't have somewhere to go every day.
Do you ever feel lonely here?
Sometimes, maybe.
What we're finding is happening to people is that they're being moved sometimes 100 kilometres away from their family of origin, from their community, from their connections, into a house with complete strangers. And I'd like to ask any of us to reflect on what that must feel like in that moment when you're grieving. Maybe your parent has passed away, maybe your family of origin, something has happened, and you're shipped away 100 kilometres out of everything that you've known and loved your whole life, and you move in with strangers, and that's it for the rest of your life. It is deeply saddening that in 2026 in Ireland there are still so many people who we know of at Inclusion Ireland who still don't have choice and control about the most fundamental and basic human rights, like where we live, who we live with, and how we choose to live our lives. And in an incredibly wealthy country, it is mind-boggling to me that there are still so many people like Susan across the country living in circumstances like that.
So for the way the system deals with Susan, she doesn't get to pick who she lives with. So most of us would be able to choose if we wanted to live with someone, what our flatmates or housemates would be like, maybe have similar interests. Susan doesn't get to do that. So sometimes she could, or in the past, be in a house where she's not happy to be in the house because of the personalities in the house or the staff in the house, and there's no say around that.
I wasn't very happy in Derny House. Well, it was all right, but the people were a bit strict. The staff were a bit strict. Some of them were okay, and some of the staff weren't. You know, they were a bit strict. And the services weren't all that nice, you know. They were kind of bossy, you know, a bit bossy kind of.
I would love to sit here and say that supporting somebody to live their best life was the primary focus, but it's not. Safeguarding is. How services are delivered, how supports are delivered are almost secondary to the health and safety that surrounds that delivery, if that makes sense. You know, and it's become increasingly difficult, and it's not easy for organisations to navigate that. And as a result then has a very significant knock-on effect.
If Susan, like Tina said, wanted to go out to her friends in the evening, or any of them wanted to go out in the evening, it has to be risk assessed, it has to be planned, has to go up to the higher ups to be like, do we think Susan's capable of this? Can we like support this? And if we can't, then that's completely shut down for her, and she hasn't got the choice to do that, which is terrible to see, because if we want to do something, we can just go and do it.
Can this person come and go freely from here? Can this person actually have a relationship? Imagine romantic relationship with somebody and have a boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, visitors, friends come visit when and how they want to. Can they stay up all night if they want? Can they go to a nightclub? Can they have friends over? Can they have a party? All of those things that most people take for granted in their homes. If those things are not available, then that is actually an institutional setting. It might be smaller, it might look better, and the staff might be very kind and compassionate and be focused on people's well-being, but ultimately those hallmarks of institutional living are still present.
There has to be something missing when somebody like Susan can spend a decade in a regulated service and her main ambition in life is not highlighted as a gap. It's not seen as something that is significant and importantly missing. And Susan's not the only one in that boat, so Susan's story represents a story for a lot of other people.
Well, my goal was always to have independent living. I was in residential living, and I didn't like it, and I always wanted my own, my independence. I was ordered by the staff and everything that I didn't feel I had independence. They had all the control, and that's what I didn't like about it. Well, I kept on with the staff all the time, telling me that I wanted my independence, and I kept up and I kept it up. It was like a drum. I kept banging on it, wanted it all the time. So my goal never changed. I just kept at it, like, you know. It's not going to happen overnight, but you have to, if you want it, keep at it. Get the people around you, the staff and so on, keep working with them and keep until you eventually will succeed. You know, you eventually will, and you'll be kind of have a peace of mind. That's the way I could say, you know, after such a long journey. But they will get there, a person will get there, you know, eventually.
Susan has always maintained that she would love to have her own space. She would love to have her own space where she could be all that she wants to be, where she can be that artistic self, where she can be that expressive self, where she can have really valued relationships with neighbours, where she can have friends, where she can make friendships and have people call.
Susan gives me hope. She is not giving up on this mission. She's continually asking us and demanding of us, what's next, where are you at, what are you doing? She hasn't lost that enthusiasm, she hasn't lost sight of that goal that she has. She holds it dearly, she lets us know she holds it dearly, and it's her that's driving us on to make sure that happens.
I like to be on my own, you know, with nobody living with me. That's my goal, you know. That's one of my goals, apart from the drawing. My independence, you know, just do my own thing, yeah.
We're looking at the issues from our perspective. The funders are looking at the issues from their perspective, and they're very inward facing. You know, the regulators are looking at the issues from their perspective because they have a set of regulations they need to, and standards that they need to hold everybody accountable, and they're looking at it from their perspective. Advocates are looking at it from their perspective and their roles and their functions. The difficulty is everybody needs to look at it from Susan's perspective, and changing that system but also changing that mindset is quite difficult. And I've no doubt that in all these different moving parts, there's the most wonderful people. There's people, if we could support each other to change our focus to look at Susan, the world could change for Susan and 1,000 Susans.
I don't think 1-bedroom house would be enough. I think 2-bedroom house would be better. And I like people to stay overnight in my house, you know. If there's only 1 bedroom, I can't have anyone stay with me overnight. I like to have 2 bedrooms at least, you know.
Would you like to have more people in your life?
Yeah, ornery people. Oh yeah, like me, I suppose.
Like you.
Yeah.
Like the neighbours.
Neighbours, yeah.
People you meet in work.
Yeah.
Would you like people like that to come to your house?
Yes, please, I would. I would, Siobhan. Yeah.